Okay, so so right now I'm gonna check out master. The first thing you should be doing is making sure, like, whenever you start working on something, if your directory is clean, then you should check out master. For myself, I'll be doing git pull origin master. It might actually be something new here. Yeah, the button driver interface has been pulled in. On your guys' side, you'll do git pull upstream stream master. On your master branch, you will never commit. You will never. You can push if you want to. That's useful if you want to push. But the only thing you'll really ever be doing is doing git pull upstream master, or git fetch upstream, and git reset hard upstream master. Those are the only commands you'll ever run on your master. Like I was saying before, it's only meant to be a place that it should always reflect exactly what master on my repo looks like. Any questions on that in particular?
I have a question.
Gotta unmute yourself, dude.
Oh. Well, my microphone's horrible, but so I can still push to my origin master, right? My forks copy of master to keep up to date with your master, right? That's not too good, right?
Yeah, so the question was from RJ, and tell me if I'm wrong on this one, that you can still push your version of master to your own repository. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, you can still push it whenever you'd like, just to make sure that the online version is always up to date with my origin as well. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, that's fine. Any other questions on the master branch and what you do with it? So that pretty much ends what you would do on the master branch. That's literally it. If you ever do commit something on master, you should do a git reset hard upstream master. That will, I'm sorry, before you do that, you want to make sure you do a git fetch upstream, so make sure you get all the latest things from that. Then after that, then you'll run a git pull upstream master. That will, I'm sorry. That's if you didn't already make a commit. If you did make a commit, then it's reset dash hard upstream master. That'll force whatever the history is for my upstream, the thing that you just fetched in, to your current master. Okay. Now let's say we're working on a particular feature. So I'm going to check out FreeRTOS. Okay. Now let me see if I have anything in particular that I don't like about the FreeRTOSing right now. And RTOS should have passed everything. Cool. I need some code reviews though. Okay. So right now I have a couple commits. I have about 4 commits for this one. If I do git rebase -i master. Now, I was going to put in git revise, which is my shorthand for doing git rebase master. All right, so here you can see the 4 commits that I have. I have adding FreeRTOS to the repository, integrating FreeRTOS, adding FreeRTOS example code, as well as adding new line character to debug print. That's actually a different feature. I didn't feel like making its own pull request. I just put it all in there. Yeah, actually, one thing about this, I just realized that I made a mistake at some point. I had moved this commit around and realized that I put it in the wrong place. So this commit shouldn't be in the position that it's currently in. So I'm going to take him, place him right here. Reason being is adding FreeRTOS example code includes some debug messages that don't end with new line characters. And this fix right here adds a new line character for every debug print you have so it looks cleaner. So I actually moved over there. So if you ever needed to rearrange your commits, this is how you do it. You literally take the line where the commit message is, and you bring it up to the next area. So if I wanted to, I could also put it at the top. Well, boom. So now my first commit is that. Now, if your commit depended on things from before it, like let's say you edited one file and then you made another addition to that file, when you move those edits around, if they conflict with each other, that'll cause merge conflict. So you have to be careful about how you do that. This is also how you rearrange history. So that's why that guy is in that position. And if I escape and I write and quit, if you're using Nano, you would do Control X and you would not save. You press no, and that should quit out of Rebase. In this particular case, if I wanted to quit out of Vim, I would do cquit, and that'll force me out, and that'll exit the editor without returning a success key, and that'll keep me from doing Rebase. Go back in here, make that change, right, quit, and because I didn't do edit for one of them, it just ran through. So now my history is, if I do git log, I can also send you guys how this works too, so you guys can get this type of log, this colorized log as well. But as you can tell, I have adding FreeRTOS example code, then I have adding new line, then integrating FreeRTOS, so you can see that the order actually did change. Now we're going to go into, actually, any questions about what I just did when it came to rearranging history?
Just a quick question about, so you did cquit. I've been using Q exclamation mark, because that's what I saw online. Is that wrong?
No, I think that does it kick you out of Rebase? You don't end up going into Rebase? Okay. Then.
It does after you do the rebase. It does say it's saved, but I've never had a problem. It doesn't do anything. But
What does it do? Like successfully rebased? Does it say this?
it does say successfully.
Okay, so that didn't kick you out then. You want to use cquit then. Reason being is if you had messed up somewhere in there, let's say you deleted one of the lines and you did quit exclamation mark, it would still rebase it and remove that commit. So you wouldn't want to do that. Now going backwards, if I had messed up, I can just do git reflog. And all right, so let's look. I'll just go and reset my thing right now. So git reset hard head at. I saw some people doing tilde. Don't use tilde because that's relative to where you currently are, and that actually doesn't. That's not the same as these things here. It's literally like the number of commits behind you in your current history. Reflog will show you all histories that were possible based off the actions that you made. So the tilde is not appropriate. You want to use the @ sign and the curly braces. And Chris is asking, what about nano? I'm pretty sure, I'm not exactly 100% sure, you should look into that. I'm pretty sure if you exit, there might be a way to exit that returns a error code. And if you do that, that should work. Let's see. Oh yeah, and thank you RJ for putting that up. So basically when I was changing lines, yeah, if you know how Vim works, it's just copy and pasting the lines up and down. If you do, I tapped D twice, and that'll cut an entire line, and then I can use P to paste it. So here I'm going to, now going back over this, I'm going to go into getting back before I made my rebase. So let's see, finish, return to ref head, get rebase, pick, adding, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so actually what I'm looking for is the point before checking out, moving from master to FreeRTOS. And then rebase, I'm going to go right here. I'm going to go to 6. And what should happen now when I do log is you should see that says adding new line character at the top. Whereas if you saw above here, I had moved it to being adding FreeRTOS, then adding new line. So I discovered, I made a mistake with my changes. I need to move back. So I moved back to a point in history where I had not done rebase. And that would be, in this particular instance, checkout moving from master to FreeRTOS. That was a safe spot. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is if you do reflog again, if you try to run this again, it won't work as you were thinking, because you now added a new item to the head 0. So now the spot that I wanted to go to before will now be 7. So just keep that in mind. All right, so I'm actually going to move back because I actually need that change. Actually, I'll just go rebase again. So for me, I just do revise, my keyword revise. And I need to ink this one and then place in here. And I'm reading the thing real quick because full upstream doesn't work for me. Yeah, so render. Look at the presentation when it comes to, you need to add the URL. If you don't add the URL in there, it won't work. So you need to do what RJ just specified there. It's actually part of that document that I put on there on the Git workflow. You have to do that first. So if you guys have not read the document, which is posted on Slack's general, it says Git workflow instructions. if you're having any problems with Git, make sure you've at least looked at that first and read that through that. And then if you have any other issues, you can bring those ones up. Alrighty, so going back over here. So yeah, move that guy in. Right, quit, good to go. Awesome. Now I realize that, okay, I need to make an edit somewhere. So I'm going to revise my stuff again. And I'm going to go to integrating FreeRTOS. So I'm going to do edit. And if you guys didn't know about this here, you can also do a command called git show -- stat, which will show you all the files that you've manipulated for this particular commit. It's very useful because if you, let's say you accidentally added in a file that you didn't mean to for a commit, or I tell you like, hey, this file shouldn't be here, you should not have made this modification, you can go in here and make any edits that you need, or you can see all this. You can see all the different files that were modified, just to verify that that's the case. One thing that I could do is do a git checkout master master -- make file. So what I'll do is I'm actually going to revert the make file back to what it was on master. So I'll actually pull in that change for master. If I go and do that, let's see, git status. It says it's modified. If I do git reset head, oh, just so you know, this is harmless. What this does is actually unstages any things that you have added in. So I do git status again. Boom, it's there. If I go git diff, I can see the difference between. This will actually tell me the difference between what I currently am trying to put in, which is the revision that only includes basically I've changed it to master, and what the little the red marks are pretty much saying, here's what you used to have as part of this commit, and here's what you're going to have after you do this. So you can go through, you can actually scroll through and see all the different changes that have happened. Hold on a sec. You have a question? Oh, okay, hold on. All right. Are the commits listed in the rebase in reverse order? I'm confused on why we are reordering them. Yeah, so the oldest commit is from top to bottom in the rebase. In log, your latest commit is on the top, and then it goes oldest to the bottom. So they do kind of flip for those. And the reason why I'm reordering them because of the fact that I realized that there's a debug print message that I have in my, well, I can actually just show you. I'm going to go git rebase abort, and that'll stop the entire rebase action. Okay. Now if I do git revise again, this particular commit adds a new line character to the end of the debug print message, which is what I use in all of the different example projects. In adding FreeRTOS example code, I make the assumption that the new line character is already added for me, so I actually need to move this guy into the middle. This commit has the feature of adding it by default, and I make the assumption that it's added by default in this commit here. And when I had it in this position here, if I were to run this code, it would not end with any new line character. So I need to make sure it's rearranged. So basically, the whole idea is that there's a commit that I need to move around. That's pretty much it. And that may or may not happen to you, especially if you're trying to do a commit expansion, which I'll go into in a little bit. Okay. So actually, let me see if there's anything I want to change. Yeah, I was on integrating FreeRTOS.
I have a question.
Okay. What's your question, RJ?
So I noticed that we've only been editing single commits at a time. Is there the possibility that we may need to edit more than one? Because I mean, you're just changing the picks to edits like one file, one commit at a time, right?
Yeah. So RJ's question was a lot of times when we need to. So this is like I'm only editing one commit at a time. Are there any reasons why you want to edit multiple? Yeah, absolutely. If let's say you had an actual commit chain and you wanted to keep them as a chain rather than putting them as different pull requests, which is valid, but I'll probably have you guys just do one commit at a time for the most part. If I review multiple commits in history in the commit history, you'll need to go back and edit each one of those. For example, right now I just did edit. Another reason why you'd want to do that is if you ever do make a chain of commits, I will need you, or I might do this too, but I will need you to go through and make sure that they're all checked. The continuous integration system will check the entire history as if it was all one commit, but it will not check each individual commit on its own. So if I go right quit, if I'm here, git status, you can actually see that I'm currently on edit integrating FreeRTOS. The last command was pick to make sure to use this command. If I do git, or actually not git, I need to go into a directory. Also, all the make commands, because I know someone else asked this question. Again, I'll say it here. All the make commands can only work if you're in an actual project. Make presubmit will not do anything to your project. It'll actually default to going to the Hello World project. But the best and easiest thing to do is just to be inside of a project where there's a make file, and then run anything that you want there. For example, let's say you are trying to lint all the software. Let's say you have an example code. You don't have to be inside the example project. You can just do make lint, and it should find all the source environment. Let's here that actually checks the examples as well. So you will need to make sure that your examples are also nice and clean. And if you do make presubmit, should go through and check everything. So yes, that would be so, and then I can go through each and every one of the commits, git continue for each one of them, and then be able to do this check to make sure that they're all passing. And let's let this guy finish. Cool. If I do git, I have a shorthand for git rebase continue. So you guys would put in git rebase -- continue, and I just have git continue. And you can get through each one of them until you finally hit the successfully rebased. All right, so I'm going to go back in. Let's see. Let's see if I can cause a merge conflict. Everything has a new file for the most part. Actually, let me check this commit here. Show stat. Oh, cool. The CPP lint file has a thing that happens with it, so I can use that as my means of messing with that. So I'm now going to actually do abort. I don't care about what I had there. I'm going to go revise again. I'm going to go up to this commit. I'm going to find that file. Vim tools cpp lint.py, and folder what? .h. Is that it? Nope, that's not it. Not it. Geez Louise, let me see if I can find the line number so I can just go straight to it. Give me a sec on this. Yeah, actually, I want 4051. Yeah, here we are. All right, so I'm actually going to just add a new line character. All right, quit, and then I'm going to do git continue. And what should end up happening is needs update, there's a merge conflict. So if I go to git status, you're at this point here. So let's say you have a merge conflict. I'm actually going to change the window that I'm doing, that I'm presenting, over to VS Code. Oh, that's what I did wrong. Okay, so actually, so I didn't, yeah. So actually the git continue actually didn't work. I still need to add this and amend it to my project. So one of the things I would have done, so I'm just going to go back to the presentation, go back to the terminal. So I did add -u, which gave me what I have here. Now it's green. And now if I do git, I have a shorthand for amend, so I just do git amend. But for you guys, we will do git commit -- amend. Do not do commit by itself. If you do commit by itself, it'll create a new commit in between these commits. So it'll be adding FreeRTOS repository, integrating FreeRTOS, then it'll create a new commit, then it'll be debug message, and then so on and so forth. So you just want to amend your commits here. You'll have the same information here. And if anything that you didn't change anything significantly, then you would keep it as is. One thing to note is that because I changed a new file, and it's like a CPP lint tool file, I would probably make a message in here saying, oh, updated blah 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 here. Now, one thing that someone asked me was, or like not someone asked me, but one of the things I've been noticing is that a lot of your guys' commit messages reflect things about your repository, but without context would make no sense. For example, if I said squashing all commit into one, what I'll actually see is like as I'm looking at the FreeRTOS commit history, I'll see the squashing all commits into one and wonder where are these other commits, when they get squashed, what does it entail, any more information, and really it doesn't have anything to do with the SJ Dev origin repository. So all that other extraneous information should be removed. It should only be information about what it is that this commit does, and purely that. Nothing about yourself, nothing about the circumstances of which you got to that point. If you want to have more updated information, that's what the pull request area is for. You can actually put a comment in there and put in, oh, I did this stuff here. Now keep its history. But you don't put it inside the commit. Any questions on that? Okay. So here you'll do, I'll do a git continue. This should cause a merge conflict. Here we are. So here we are. Auto merging tool conflict with CPP lint. Resolve all conflicts manually. Then as resolved with add and remove, then do a git rebase continue. Do not commit at this point. That'll cause you a lot of grief if you commit. All you'll do is do an add and then a rebase continue. If I move over to my other screen, you can actually see where the commit issue came up. And this is if you're using VS Code. So you can actually see what is currently, what current means here is it actually represents the commit the commit that you are just on, and what its current changes are. And the incoming changes are what you're trying to apply onto your previous commit in order to make the history work. So this is what is currently in that folder. I actually commented this entire section out. I mean, adding a new line character actually caused this issue here. So if I was looking at this, I'd be like, you know what, actually, I would like to not accept both, but I want to either A, compare changes, which is useful, but really I just want to accept incoming. And then I can continue on and make that change. Now, actually, because of the fact that I don't want to have any history of me changing the CPP file, in this particular case, I would just actually abort. There's nothing really too crazy here. But if I wanted to actually keep this, I would do git git add, and I'd actually put in the actual file. If you put in a folder, it'll add everything below that folder that's new and modified. And I'd do a git rebase -- continue. It'll ask you if you want to change the commit message. You don't have to, and then you'll see that it says successfully rebased and updated your refs. And that's how you fix merge conflicts. You would actually, if you weren't using VS Code, you would have like deleted one section of this. So if I kind of go back to this, you would have gone in and deleted this section here, and then you would have had to remove this section here as well, and hopefully not create any other changes in that as well. So that's how you make your changes. Any questions on how to basically fix merge conflicts?
If you didn't have VS Code, I'm probably trying to get that, but when you're doing it, does it tell you where your conflicts are in the terminal, or you just have to figure it out?
You have to go into the file and figure it out. It'll tell you which files have conflicts, because if you see up here, you'll see that says both modified. So that's the indicator of what file has a mistake. Without VS Code, it won't highlight itself in any other editor. So you can go in and you have to find the marker that says, if you saw before, it said like, it had a whole bunch of less than or greater than signs, and it said head, and another one said like, all that stuff. So you need to look out for those things. And yeah, cool thing about that is that if you attempt to, if you did it inside of a C or C++ file, it'll cause a build error. So usually those things usually don't slip by, but you should still check to make sure it's clean. But yeah, no, you're just manually editing. That's how you fix merge code. There's no git command that does that for you. You have to actually go in and figure out and make the decision of what you want to keep and what you don't want to keep. I'm actually going to do another reflog because I don't want to keep these.
That's what they call the stupid content tracker.
So let's see, where do I want to go back to? So many rebases. So many rebases. What was that before? Returning to blah, adding Furitas, rebase continue, adding blah blah blah. And returning to blah blah blah. When did I check out? This is check out master. Adding Furitas example. Pick. Check out master. Where's my other one? Moving to. I'm just gonna do this guy. Actually, no, that's not what I want. I want. I'll do it in a bit. It's not too important. If I need to, I can just I can force pull what I have online in, but that's not necessary. I can just find which commit did it, which commit is useful to change. Now what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to check out another branch, and I'm not too sure which ones do I have here that is useful to try to make this happen with. I'll try out dependency injection. I might not have enough files in there to make a. Are you serious? Yeah, git checkout -- tools. What that just did is basically it reverts that file back to what it was before. So I just pretty much said I don't want to make any changes to that. I'm going to revert it back to what it was before. Now I'm going to check out dependency injection. Okay. Now, dependency injection has a couple files. They are in the library folder in L1 drivers, and they're SPI and SPI test. I think if I do show stat, you can see all the other files. These are the only ones that are there. Oh, weird. Does it update to testing frameworks? I'm going to add a couple other files here. So I'm going to go into firmware, examples. Oh, there's an SPI one. SPI. There's a source software too. What? Oh, git log. Oh boy. All right, let me do something real quick. So if you notice here, you actually see that you can see this entire commit history, and there's no like my main is nowhere in sight. That's actually an issue. That means that I'm actually not up to date. So I'm actually going to go back to my repository, and I'm just going to go git revise or git. Whoa. Both modified that. All right, git checkout. There's firmware library L1 driver. What this does is it, besides checking out the previous version, it checks out which if you've both modified a file. There's a version that's called ours, which is our version of the file, and there's also another version called theirs, which is the one that is trying to it's kind of self-explanatory. In this case, I don't care about my changes. I want to take in their changes, so I go and do that. If I actually look at the file. Library L1 drivers and pin config .hpp. I shouldn't see any issues here. Yeah, that looks all good. Yep, looks good. Okay. All right. Adding everything and then continuing. Git rebase continue. I need to do anything there. Boom. Good. All right. Now if I go to git log, it should show master here, and then it should also show how far I am from master. Git show stat. Okay. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to squash some commits, and then I'm going to go through how you would separate them back out if you needed to, without having to use reflog. Let's say you decided to do everything all in one commit, but you're like, okay, I'll give small little samples of it as time goes on. Here's how you go about doing that. So git. One thing you'll do is you'll do squash. here. And then you'll do save quit. Do I want to edit it too? Not really. I don't think I want to edit it. Yeah. Okay. It'll squash the two commit messages together. And I'm just going to keep them both in there. Dependency injection example and new stuff. Okay, so now if I go show stat, now I have a whole bunch of different files. And I'm like, okay, crap, I need to separate these guys out. And here's where this, I guess it's kind of delicate, but not too delicate of an experience. First thing you want to do is actually save this little file, this guy here. That's going to be super useful. Yeah, it's going to be super useful. So I'm just going to save this out of VS Code. And I actually typically save this entire thing here. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, so I'm not actually saving it right now, but I'm keeping it there so I can see it. All right, so I'm going to do a git revise again. I'm going to do a git rebase, and dang, all right, I only got one here. I need to separate it. So I'm going to do edit. And then here's where you actually do your commits to expand it out. So first things first, that examples project, I don't want to do the examples project. I want to make sure I have my code implementation as well as my code implementation, and that's pretty much it for this. So I'm actually going to do remove firmware examples SPI. I'm going to do recursively, I do git status, see that they've been deleted. And I'm also going to remove my pin config as well. I don't think that's useful here. Drivers pin config.hpp. Actually, no, I don't want to remove it. I want to check out the original version of it. Do git show stat. Really shouldn't be any changes to that file, but all right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm now going to do a git amend. So I'm going to amend that as part of this commit. If you look down here, you actually see it says modified this file. There's a new file of this. There's a new file of this, and I've modified this file. So I can save those. I'll keep those as the same commit. Now if I do git show stat again, you'll see that only these files have been changed. Good. Now what I'm going to do is now I'm going to make a new commit. So now I'm going to try to bring back those other files. I'm going to do git checkout B2068889F. So that's pretty much the ID here, the short version of the ID here. And I'm now going to I'm going to bring back that folder. So I'm going to do firmware examples SPI. I do git status again. We'll see that the file's been brought back. So even though I had squashed the commits and did all that other stuff with it, those files are still around. So all I need to do is do checkout for that with that particular label, and I can get those files back. Then do commit, and then adding SPI example does some stuff. And yeah, I think that's good for now. Then you can do a git continue. And if you do revise again, you'll see, boom, there they are. And if I do a git log, you can see that I've now separated them. And just real quick, I don't like the fact that, I had pin config in there, so I want to separate that out too. So I'm not too sure why it's not letting me do this, but I'm going to do get checkout master dash firmware library one driver pin config. So I'm going to take master's version of this. So it says it's modified, but the interesting thing here that's going to happen is when I do a git amend, you'll see here that it's actually no longer there, because if it's at that point it's actually no longer modified by this commit. It has no changes from this commit, therefore it will be dropped out. So if I save this, boom, that's out. If I do git checkout, git checkout. Should just take this from here. B20689F. And then if I do a git commit, this will happen in between the other ones. Modifying enhancing, I don't know, enhancing pin config features. Let me continue. If we get to git log, now you can see that I now have pin config dependency injection, enhancing pin configure features, and then adding SPI examples. So that's how you take one commit and you separate it out to multiple other commits. And this is being recorded, so you can look back at the stages that I kind of went through. Are there any questions thus far?
So from what I see, it's like I see how you pull the files
Mhm.
out, and like if you wanted to move them to a separate commit, but what about if like it's code changes between two commits? It wouldn't. This only works if you're trying to like pull files out, right?
Yeah. So if you have, let's say you did interface and implementation all at once, you literally would have to copy. You literally have to copy out those portions. So what I would actually do is, let's say you had one commit with everything in there, and let's make it simple. You have one commit with. Actually, I can actually demonstrate this to you. Git revise. Oops. Yeah, I'll edit this guy. Let's say we want to do the same thing we were doing before. So, one SPI. Yeah. One simple way to do this is make a small change to this file. Git commit. So that'll separate it out, and then this will be adding SPI implementation. Then what I can do is I can continue through the rebase, come back through the rebase, edit this file, and then go right back into Vim. And let's see, I need everything that's not the interface, and this thing only has init, seems like. Okay, so 500 delete. All right, so I should get rid of everything there. And these added items here don't need to be here. There's this guy, and that can stay. Add that, git. Oh, and if you're wondering, that A is my shorthand for, it combines both add-u and git status. So it does those both together. Then I do a git amend, and I do a git continue. Yeah, it seems to be a merge conflict. Let's figure out what's up. So this is on head. This is in the implementation above here. Go all the way to the top, remove those parts, because I want to keep those. And git A, and then git continue. Boom. And boom. And there you go. Now I have all these changes separated out into separate files, or yeah, into separate commits. Does that answer your question?
Okay. Yeah, and definitely I'll be able to look back at that if so I can remember it if it does happen.
Cool. Any other questions or things that have been bothering you guys that I can go over now? Sounds like a no. Okay, cool. So I'll be posting this tonight. It should be up in like a couple minutes. And then you guys can use this as a review, and you guys can continue doing your GitHub stuff. Okay? Have a good night, everyone. Oh, and Nicole, if you want to stay back to talk about design stuff, we can.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay. So what was the design question you had again?
So let's say I need to send a command that's a particular hex value, and I need to keep track of what that command is and what that does. So I think in 146, and even though we weren't supposed to, I think like for the MP3 player we made macros.
Mhm.
So I'm just wondering if there's like a better way of doing that.
Can you show me some code that you're working on so I can get an idea of what you have? Like why you what you're using, and I can probably like see like, oh, you know, this is a way to do this without requiring using macros.